On the night of February 24th, 1978, five men left a basketball game in Chico, California. They were happy. They had just watched their favorite team win. They bought snacks for the road and headed home. It was a short drive, just 50 miles south to Yuba City. The weather was clear in the valley. They were all grown men, described as good boys who never caused trouble. But they never arrived home. Months later, their car was found abandoned in the snow, 70 miles in the wrong direction. And what search parties found later defies all logic. A man starved to death in a trailer full of food, a fire that was never lit, and footprints leading into the darkness. This is not a ghost story. This is the unsolved mystery of the Yuba County Five. To understand this tragedy, we first need to understand the boys. That's what their families called them. Ted, Gary, Jack Madruga, Jack Huett, and Bill Sterling. They ranged in age from 24 to 32. Four of them had slight intellectual disabilities, but they held jobs and lived active lives. The fifth, Gary Mathias, was an Army veteran who struggled with schizophrenia but was stable on medication. Jack Huett, age 24 years old, born 1954. Jack was the youngest of the five. He had mild intellectual challenges but remained socially active. He was well-liked and known for his kindness. Ted Weiher, age 32 years old at the time of the disappearance, born 1946. Ted was the eldest in the group. He was known for his kindness and was described as one of the good guys. He had mild intellectual disabilities but led an active life and was hardworking. Jack Madruga, age 30 years old, born 1948. Jack had mild intellectual disabilities but was a kind and friendly person. He had a great sense of humor and was someone others could rely on. He was deeply attached to his family and friends. Bill Sterling, age 29 years old, born 1949. Bill was a steady, reliable person with good relationships with friends and family. He was a calm and grounded individual, in contrast to Gary, who had mental health struggles. Bill could have been the person to keep the group calm during tense moments. Gary Mathias, age 25 years old, born 1952. Gary was an Army veteran who struggled with schizophrenia, but had it under control with medication. His condition may have played a role in the events. He was a determined individual who influenced the others in the group. That night, they drove to Chico for a college basketball game. They were ecstatic because their own team was scheduled to play a tournament the very next day. They had everything to live for. After the game, they stopped at a convenience store. They bought Hostess cherry pies, Langendorf lemon pies, a Snickers bar, and sodas. Just five friends enjoying a Friday night. This is where the facts end and the nightmare begins. Instead of driving south towards home, their car turned east, up into the mountains, into the Plumas National Forest. Why? Did they take a wrong turn? Did someone chase them? The road they took was rugged, unpaved, and climbing to a high elevation. It makes no sense for a low-riding Mercury Montego. There was a witness. A man named Joe Shones had gotten his own car stuck in the snow that same night. He was stranded, freezing, waiting for help. Shones claimed that around midnight he saw headlights. He saw a group of men walking in the snow. He yelled for help, but the moment he shouted, the lights went out. The voices stopped. He said later, "It was like they were hiding from me." He heard a woman and a baby crying in the distance, maybe hallucinating from the cold. But he was sure about the men. They ignored him and walked into the deadly silence. Days passed, then weeks. The police found the Mercury Montego abandoned on a snow-covered road. It was unlocked. The window was down. The weirdest part? The car wasn't really stuck. The engine started immediately when police hotwired it. 5 men could have easily pushed it free, but they didn't. They just walked away. It wasn't until June, after the snow melted, that a break in the case came. About 19 miles from the car, searchers found an old Forest Service trailer used by hikers. Inside, they found the body of Ted Weiher. He was wrapped in 8 sheets, frozen to death. But the autopsy revealed something terrifying. Ted didn't die immediately. He lived for 8 to 13 weeks inside that trailer. Here is the horror. There were dozens of sea rations, military canned food, in an unlocked locker outside. Ted had eaten some, but left most of them untouched. He lost 100 pounds before starving to death, surrounded by food. There was a propane tank full of gas. There was a fireplace. Matches were lying around. They never started a fire. They sat in the dark, freezing, starving, while everything they needed to survive was right there. Why? The remains of Jack Madruga and Bill Sterling were found miles away, scavenged by animals. Jack Huett's bones were found by his own father during a search, a heartbreaking moment. But Gary Mathias was never found. His tennis shoes were left in the trailer. He walked out into the snow in his socks? Did he take the others' shoes? The leading theory is that Gary, off his schizophrenia medication, may have had an episode. Perhaps he convinced the others, who trusted him implicitly, that they were being chased, that the lights outside were dangerous. It is a tragedy of psychology, not ghosts. 5 friends, terrified of an imaginary threat, hiding in the dark until the very end. Sometimes, the human mind is the scariest place on Earth. What do you think made them run? Let me know in the comments. And remember to stay safe.